Hi, friends. How are you doing? By my count, we are a little over a month into the COVID restrictions, and it seems like things are beginning to wear on people. And maybe at this point, 3-4 weeks in, you're beginning to feel a little down and depressed, or maybe even a little angry about things. Now, as I said last time, I understand that these restrictions are kind of affecting everyone differently. For some of you, life really isn't that much different. Maybe fewer events, athletic programs to run the kids around to, and things are actually kind of quieter and a little slower paced. Others have had the cortisol levels running high for quite some time now. Every day you go to work and you have to be a little bit more precautious about what you touch and how you handle things and your relations with customers or clients. Some of you work in the healthcare industry and it's maybe even a little more stressful. Others are missing seeing a loved one. But I think something that we've all experienced lately is uncertainty. Uncertainty over what's going to happen next. When will the restrictions be rolled back? What will the economy be like when we're finally able to get back to work and businesses are up and running? How long will these things affect our lives? What will the world look like in a year from today? And the uncertainty can almost wear us down more than the reality of our current situation. Today, I just wanted to share with you a couple of verses from the book of Lamentations. Lamentations is that little book that's sandwiched between Jeremiah and Ezekiel in the Old Testament. It's a little book, but it's a powerfully beautiful book. As the name implies, it is a lament. It's a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. And tradition says that Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentations. And Jeremiah would be a good and likely author for that because he himself was a man of suffering. He lived through the destruction of Jerusalem, which took place about 600 years before Jesus was born. Jeremiah would have seen people starving in the streets of Jerusalem when the city was under siege. Most likely, he would have seen dead bodies strewn in the city streets, both soldiers and citizens. Jeremiah would have had friends and family who were taken into exile by the Babylonians, maybe never to see them again. Jeremiah would have seen the house of God, the temple of the Lord, reduced to rubble. And like us, he would not have known when he could worship again with God's people. But despite Jeremiah's situation, if he's the author of Lamentations, in the middle of this book, in the middle of this book that is called a lament, there's this beautiful sunshine of gospel hope that comes ringing through. I'd like to read chapter 3, beginning at verse 19. I remember my affliction and my wandering, the bitterness and the gall. I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion. Therefore, I will wait for him. How can Jeremiah say these words of confident gospel hope? Well, because he remembers the Lord's faithfulness. He knows that in his mercy and compassion, God has not chosen to consume sinners, but to save them. He knows that God is faithfulness, and he knows how God has kept his promises in the past to be Israel's God and helper. And he looks to the future when God will keep that ultimate promise of sending the Messiah. Jeremiah knows that the Lord is compassionate and merciful and faithful. And this is what gives him hope. Hope not that God will only keep his big promises, but that he keeps his little promises to us as well. And in that, he sees God's mercies new every morning, just like the sun. You know those mercies as well. On Good Friday, we once again remembered how instead of consuming us sinners in his wrath, God poured it all out on his own Son, Jesus Christ, and how Jesus willingly took that wrath upon himself and suffered for it once and for all. On Easter morning, God's faithfulness was proclaimed loud and clear. My Son will not die but live, and all those who trust in him will live as well. Death itself has been destroyed. I am faithful to all of my promises. And because of that, we know that God is merciful and compassionate. A couple years ago, my wife went to one of those board painting workshops and made this board that hangs in our kitchen. A little snapshot, a little snippet of this section from Lamentations. His mercies are new every morning. And I think it's a beautiful painting, a beautiful reminder for us, not only during these COVID restrictions, but every day of our life. I'd encourage you this weekend to maybe read through the short book of Jeremiah and pay a special attention to these verses right in the middle, dead center in Jeremiah, these words of sunshine, this gospel breath of hope, that God's mercies are new every morning. And we can see those mercies in the big things, the promises of forgiveness that God has given to us, and also in the little things. The birds that come and sit outside your window, the trees that begin to spring their buds, the promise of warmer weather, the friends that we have, the family, the food. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion, therefore I will wait for him. May God bless you as you wait for the Lord. See you soon.
Beneath the light of angelic skies, the sun, Emmanuel.